What's up guys, Camero here, and welcome to the second of my Thundaga Q&A videos. I'm not going to waste any more time, let's answer some questions! So, the first question comes from Friso, who asks, some fan-made games have forests that are dark, but at some spaces, light comes through and those spots are animated. How do you make those animated light spots? And what do you like to do besides making Pokemon games? Thanks for answering the last Q&A, it really helped a lot. Hey, thank you man. So, I know how to do unanimated ones that are static, and I kind of have an idea how to do versions that are animated. I don't exactly know what they mean by animated. They just mean like left and right a little or up and down a little, or is there more to it? But I can show you how to do a very simple forest light spot that's kind of like bleeding through, and then move on from there. And then I'll answer the other part of the question later. So what we got here is our starting map. This is just a base version of Pokemon Essentials. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot. Boop. And then I'm going to go into Photoshop. Cool. So here's basically, I've already done a little testing with this. Essentially what you're going to want to do is make an overlay fog similar to this. What you're going to be doing is putting fog on your map, but you're going to have some areas where there's no fog and it bleeds through. And the black fog is where the map is the darkest. You can use gray or shades of gray to make it a little bit lighter. And then you could use white to make it very bright, like a spotlight almost, or clear if you want it to just like be empty there. So what I did was I took a screenshot, and I'm gonna do File New, and sure, whatever. I'm just gonna take a new screenshot here of all my monitors, and let's crop this down so it's just our Pokemon map. This might take a little bit. I'm doing like a zoomed in kind of crappy version of the crop. I could have done this a lot better, but oh well, this is what I'm doing. Cool. Copy. Paste. Very nice. And let's actually make this its own thing there. Cool. So now what we've got is a layer that's just our town. So we're going to use this to help determine our size as well as the placing of our fog. So if we want to make it so it's only foggy at the doors of the homes, that's actually pretty easy to do. So let's crop it all down. So that way this is the exact same size as our town. So now what we have here is an image that's the exact same size as our town. And then what we're going to do is make a layer on top of it. And let's do a little bit of a gray circle around some of the doors. So inside the gray circle will be emptiness. And then around the gray circle, outside the gray circle, will be darkness. And then we can do a couple other spots also. So this is going to look very crappy. That's just a warning right now. This isn't great. This isn't the perfect way to do fog. If you want to look at a better way to do it, then I would suggest looking at Pokemon Fable and checking out some of the Pokemon Fable resources. They do a great job of making the fog look very nice in their forest maps. So cool. So now I can just go to pure black, paste it right there. Cool. And then make it so that way this is invisible. Boom. Cool, so now I've got ourselves a nice little fog map here. Save, and I made one example called Terrible Fog. I'll just call this one Bad Fog. Cool, so that saved it as a PSD, now I need to save it as a PNG. Saverino, cool. So now let's go back into our game. And there's two ways that we can do it. One thing that we can do is just make it so that way there's a new tile set that has that fog applied, or we could use an event to make it so it only applies to this one map. If you're doing it in a forest, odds are that forest isn't like connected to other maps, so you don't have to worry about it too much. In this example, this map has different map connections, so if I move too far up, you'll see the fog pop in and out. So I'll just show you how to do both of them real quick. So let's take a look at Pallet Town. If we go to map properties, we'll see it's using the tile set outside. We can actually go to our tile sets, and I've done it already, but I'll do another example. You can just right click on outside, copy, and then go down. You can also increase the amount of tile sets you can have. But you can copy it, and then go down, and you can paste it. Cool. And then you can call this outside foggy, or fog 2, or whatever. And then from there, you can set a fog graphic. And from there, this is where we pick our file that we put in our fog folder. Did I save it? There it is, bad fog. Cool. Let's make it so that the zoom is just 100. That's important. You can set the opacity, you can set the blending. There's a lot of stuff you can change here. And if you want to make it move, which is technically animated, you can set SX and SX and SY. A positive value here makes it move to the right. A negative value here makes it move to the left. For SY, I'm pretty sure a positive value makes it move down, and a negative value makes it move up. So if we want to make it move up and to the right, we can do that. If we want to make it to move down and to the left, we can do that by using these values and messing around with them. So cool. We've set a fog graphic for this new tile set. Then we can just go to our town and then change the tile set to outside foggy. So that's one way to do it. I guess I'll test it. I'll show it off. Let's run our game. So right now it has no movement applied to it though, so it's technically not animated. It's kind of just a still image. But here, check it out. We got fog. Let me also unmute the game so we can hear the great audio. It's beautiful. Yeah, there's a little bit of a fog. When I walk through it, you'll see that kind of like bleeds through to the player. So that's nice. That's how you do kind of like a cheap fog. It's not very good, and like I said before, if you want to see an example of how to do it very well, check out Pokemon Fable. I downloaded one of their examples right here, and like, look at that. It's a beaut. So you can put this on some of your forest maps to have light bleed through. The thing is, that's not animated. So I'll show you another way to do it, where it's slightly animated. I still don't fully understand the question. If I could get an example, that'd be great. But I'm gonna try my best to make one that moves a little bit, and it's actually pretty easy. If you go and make a new event on the map, you can actually set a parallel process and then do change map settings and apply a fog graphic that way too. So let's put our bad fog in, and let's make it so the zoom is 100, and let's make it so that way it moves to the right at a speed of 2. Very, very slow speed. Cool. And then after that, let's make it wait, I don't know, 10 frames. And then let's do it so that way it does the reverse. Change map settings, fog graphic, bad fog again, 100. And instead of 2, let's set that to -2. So that way it's going to go backwards. And then insert wait 10 frames. Cool. So what this will do is it'll make the fog kind of move to the right and to the left a little bit, kind of like almost like it's swaying with the wind. I don't know if exactly that's what you wanted or meant by animated. But there we go. So now our fog is moving a little bit. It's moving back and forth. It kind of doesn't look that good, but it's almost like the holes in the tree are moving with the wind. I don't know if that's what you meant or if that's what you wanted, but hopefully this sets you on the right direction. So this is how you would do that kind of foggy overlay for a forest, and how you would get it in your game. Yeah, and it almost looks like a spotlight. This might be a neat effect to make for a Pokemon game where there's like a guy on a stage telling a story almost. So it works in multiple ways. So yeah, hopefully this sets you in the right track. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question fully. But yeah, thank you for asking the question. Oh yeah, and for the second part, what do I like to do besides making Pokemon games? Let's see. I used to be really into sports and playing like soccer and stuff, but more recently I've just been a huge nerd laying around, playing games, making games. I like to just play a lot of video games and kind of criticize them and think of ways that their game design could be improved. I don't know, I like making YouTube videos, I like hanging out with my friends a lot, playing games with them. I want to play more games with friends on my channel, so if you guys are down to see that, let me know. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, thank you for asking the question. I'll try to come up with other things I like to do besides making Pokemon games, because right now I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, thank you for asking, Friso. Hopefully this question, hopefully I answered it well enough to get you in the direction that you want to be going, and thank you again for asking. I really appreciate you. Alright, this next question comes from Trevor Lancaster, who asks, I really want to make a Pokemon game where part of the main plot revolves around the seasons changing. I would love to know how to make maps, events, the weather that happens, and the Pokemon that appear change depending on the season. So my question is, how do Pokemon seasons work in Pokemon Essentials? And thanks for all your awesomely helpful videos so far. I've learned so much watching them. Hey, thank you. So I've gone into Pokemon Essentials Black and White for this. I'll have a link to this in the description, but let me just say this. First off, disclaimer, I don't really know too much about how to do seasons. I don't really know if it's even possible in the base version of Essentials. That's why I went to this, Pokemon Essentials Black and White, because it is possible to do in here, so maybe you could kind of take inspiration from this. It's really tough to do, and I don't know if it's worth, but let me just show you what's going on in here. So they have a script called Black and White Seasons, where what it does is it checks the month that the internal time based on your computer time, and like it says basically what season you're in, so it automatically detects what season you're in, and it does like season info and stuff, and it edits the map and it edits the tile sets, which is really interesting. If you scroll up to the very top of Black and White Essentials and go into the settings, there's actually stuff here where there's season tile sets, where 1 is the original tile set, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the seasonal variations of it: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. So if I go into the tile sets for this, you'll see there's 1 which is the original, and then here's the winter version of it, here's the spring version of it, here's the summer version of it, here's the autumn version of it. So that's kind of cool. But that's dependent on the time of your computer's clock. So if you wanted to control the seasons in the game without having to do stuff like that, I would say just make multiple variations of your tile set, and then, I don't know, like use switches to switch to the different seasons. I don't know. Because if you wanted to make a game revolving around seasons, then it might be best to have multiple maps where if a current season is set to true, then when you go to that map, it, like, let me see if I can do an example. Let me close this. I'll be back after I set up an example. Alright, so I think I've set up a good example here. I've got a copy of Route 1, so here's the regular Route 1, and here's my copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new tile set. I'm going to copy the original outside tile set, and I'm just going to call this one Outside Autumn, and set the graphic to instead be this one that I made that's basically just a lot of orange everywhere. So let's see how that looks. It's probably going to look pretty crappy when I set this map properties to have Outside Autumn. Yeah, it's not that great, but this is just to get the idea across. I'm not here to make it look amazing, I'm just here to show you how to try to get it to work. So, there's Route 1 and then Route 1 Autumn. What you could do here is go into your town and make it so that way if the switch... Actually, no, let's just do this. Let's make it so that way there's a conditional branch here where when you step on this, it'll transfer you to that map. But we need to make a switch. Let's call this one... Let's actually do a variable instead. That'll probably be even better. So let's call this one current season. Nice. So if the current season is equal to 0, then it'll transfer us, let's see, transfer player to this copy of Route 1, and it'll transfer you just right here, whatever. Facing up, I don't know. And then do another conditional. Let's see. I mean, I guess there's probably a better way to do this, but if the conditional of that variable, if current season is equal to 1, then it's autumn. Then let's say it's autumn. Then it'll transfer us to this version of the map. This is kind of a crappy way of doing it. I think maybe doing it the black and white essentials way might be better, but if you don't want to install that script, then this might be a better way to do it. Either way, what we've got here is an event that's dependent on the season number will transfer you to a different variation of the map, one where it's regular or one where it's autumn. I'd say you have to get pretty creative with this. Let's test it out now, though. Let's test it. It's gonna look terrible. Let me just warn you that. So we've got our town, and when we step on this, oh yeah, I didn't set it so it was player touch. I set it so it was action. So I have to hit enter on it, but it transfers us there. So let's see, where is it again in here? If I want to edit switches and variables in the new version of Essentials, let's just watch me flounder for a second. Field options? There it is, variables. There it is, current season. Let's set that to 1. Nice. So now when I step on it and hit enter, let's see, what's the tile that I put it on? This one? There we go. So now it transfers us to the autumn version of the map instead. I'm sorry if I couldn't help you out very much. I tried. Let it be known that I tried. It's just, I don't know. If you want to make the game revolving around seasons and you don't want to know how to do, and you don't know how to do seasons, I would say definitely look at the Pokemon Essentials black and white version for how to do that, and take a look at their scripts, because doing it my way is not very good. But yeah, thank you for the question, and once again, I'm sorry if I couldn't answer it perfectly. Let's move on to the next question. This next question comes from Spidermaster SSE Company. Make daycare couple, please. Make a daycare couple. I don't need to do it because it's already been made. Go to Cerulean Town or Larusian Town in Pokemon Essentials, and you can find the daycare guy right here. He talks about everything for the daycare stuff. He generates an egg based on the pairing and everything, so he's already done. And if you go into the daycare building right here, the woman that runs the daycare has also already been done. She'll accept your Pokemon, she'll take care of them, and yeah, she'll raise them up, they'll level up, everything involving the daycare couple has already been made. So if you want to do a daycare in your game, go to Cerulean Town in the base essentials maps, take this old guy, take a look at him, copy him, and then copy this daycare lady too. Copy both of those. So these are the daycare couple. This is what you need to look at. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, they've already been made, so check those out. So this next question comes from H2ONMC Boy, saying, hey Camero, I was wondering if you could make a video talking about implementing an item that changes the type of a Pokemon. I know there's already Arceus plates in the game, but I mean more of a way to be able to change every Pokemon in the game to a different type by holding the item. Got this idea, I was wondering if it could be implemented. Okay, so I've actually been banging my head up against this one for a while now, and I can't figure it out. There's two ways to do it. One way is an extremely long way, an extremely painful way, and a way that I don't recommend, involving forms. You'd have to make a new form for each Pokemon where they change to that form when they're holding the item. If I go to find Arceus, what he has is, he changes his form when he's holding the item, so you can make an item and make it so it changes to that form when they're holding the item that you make. But doing that for every Pokemon is not really viable and a huge pain, and I wouldn't recommend it. The other way, the way that I've been trying to do, but have found no success, is making a specific item that works similar to the ability Protean, but instead of making it so it changes based on the move you just used, it hard changes it to a type. But I have not been able to get it to work. I made an item called a Lava Stone that will change Pokemon to Fire type at the start of the battle. So similar to Intimidate, on active, it'll change their types, but I haven't been able to get it to work. I'm sorry. I was slamming my head up against this for an hour, and I don't know, I didn't feel like slamming my head up against it anymore, so sorry. Maybe I'll try to get it working some other day, maybe on like a stream or something. I'll just commit some time to doing this. But yeah, that's the best answer I can give at this moment. I'm sorry I couldn't help out more. I appreciate you asking the question though. I'm sorry, but yeah, here's where I tried to do it. And I just made it a held item, but yeah, I couldn't get this to work. It got close to working though. It got close. I think I was using a Pikachu and it set its type 2 to fire, but it didn't set type 1 to fire, or I don't know exactly what was going on, but yeah. Thank you for asking the question again, and I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better answer. This next question comes from PPP325, saying, how do you make the windows of buildings light up during nighttime? Ooh, this one I can show you how to do. So, first and foremost, the most important thing I gotta tell you is there is a police officer here on Route 7 in the base essentials maps where he changes depending on day and night. There's a switch that he checks to say, is it nighttime? You can also check his morning, afternoon, evening, but yeah, so he checks, is it night? And if it's night, he does this. Otherwise, if it's day, he does this. So what we're going to do is kind of tweak that and use that to make events for our windows, where if it's nighttime, they're lit windows. So let's go to a town, like the Lappet town. And what you want to do is basically find the tile for the window on the building. And we're going to make a new event where by default, it's empty. And then a new event page where if it's night, then it has the tile that we want. So check this out. I actually have gone in and already made a nighttime tile, but I'm gonna go and do it again just to show it off. But essentially what I did was I took the regular yellow tile, the regular blue window tile here, and then just tweaked it so it was yellow. So there we go. So what you can do there is, so if it's night, this will be a yellow window. Otherwise, all other times of the day, it'll be a normal window. So that's one kind of cheap and easy way to do it. Let me show you what I did in Photoshop, though. So this is that autumn map. I'm going to open up the regular outside. And let's scroll to where the buildings are. Cool, here we go. So what I did was, each tile is 32 by 32. And what I wanted to do was find the ones that corresponded to the windows, and then kind of just paint over them with the yellow that corresponded to the color of the blue. So let's do it with a new building right here. Like this building right here. So if you want to make this building have lit up windows at nighttime, what you want to do is first find the tiles of the windows. So let's just go at this by like different 32 by 32 bits. So let's see, that's height is 32, width is 32, cool. So this one has no window in it, so it's of no use to us. So let's move on to the next 32 by 32. Cool. that's a 32 that does have a bit of window in it. And then let's extend a little bit more. 32 by 64. Cool. So now we've got a 32 by 64 little block here of 2 windows, and I can copy this over and make it its own new unique tile. Cool. So what I did was I just copied the current color, then went to the color dial, and then selected yellow. So I basically just get the yellow version of that color. And you do that for all of the other blues to make it so that way you get yellows for them too. Cool. Awesome. So now we got a yellow version of our window. So you want to do this for the other window too. I'm not going to do it in this because this is just an example, but that's what you would do. So you'd want to get yellow variations of your windows. And then you can save. One thing you could also do is, since the windows are the only thing that matter, you can actually delete the stuff around the window too. This will make it a little bit more obvious. There we go. And delete the background there. Cool. So now we've got ourselves a little window tile, and then this will be yellow when it's nighttime. So let's go to our event and let's test it out. So it's currently not nighttime as I'm filming this, but we can still test it. So let's do this. We can actually, since it doesn't matter if it appears or disappears, we can actually just make it so it's only one event page and it shows up if is night, because if it's not night, then it won't even appear to begin with. So let's select our yellow window for that second building that I did. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Cool. So here's the leftmost yellow window. And let's just drop that window onto the map real quick. Oh, is this using a different tile set? Did I make it so that way this map was using a different tile set? No, I didn't. That's outside. Did I... Oh, I think I have to do this. Yeah, there it is. I just had to refresh the map because I edited the tile set and saved it as a new image. So just entering and exiting. So cool. There we go. We've got our window. Let's just drop that building onto this map real quick. It's not going to look that great, but once again, this is just for testing purposes, just to show it off. Cool. Let's just plop that building down right there. Actually, let's plop it down somewhere where we can admire it. There we go. So this tile corresponds to that window. Then we can just copy and paste this. So then this tile corresponds to that window. Nice. So at nighttime, these windows will look yellow. Otherwise, they'll look normal. I mean, they'll look blue. So let's go into our game and test it out. There is no way, to my knowledge, in debug to change it to nighttime. Let me warp. This is where I was doing my testing of that lava rock a while back. So let's go to Route 1. I mean, sorry, not Route 1. Oh, whatever. Let's just go to Town 1. Pallet Town. So we got ourselves blue windows here. So if we're playing this game at nighttime, those windows will be yellow. So to show this off, let's make it so that way the check is, instead of night, let's make it so it checks if day. Cool. So instead of is night, is day. Is it daytime? Cool. So if it's daytime now, these windows will be yellow, which it is. Cool. Now let's play our game and test it out. I should probably get rid of the fog soon also, because it's like just making things tough to see. But there we go. We got ourselves a yellow window. It's daytime and the windows are yellow. Now if you want to make them like really bright, with like light coming out of them, there is a way, but it doesn't look that great. There's light sources on Route 3 that you can check out. I believe it's this one right here in the top left, where you can like make it so that the player has a shadow coming off of it. I don't know if that actually helps, but let me get rid of the fog from this map, and then maybe it'll be easier to identify. Let's see. Let's play our map now, and then let's see how the yellow window looks. Yeah, there you go. Nice little yellow window. It's not great, but that's something. So hopefully that helps you. If it doesn't help you, I'm sorry. But yeah, hopefully that helps you. Thank you for asking the question, man. Here's a quick little bit to expand on this question before I move on to the next one. If you name the event regular tone, then it won't be affected by the day and night shading, so the light will appear brighter at nighttime. So I've actually gone and changed the internal time of my computer, so now I'm further ahead, so now it is nighttime. So when I run my game, you'll see what I mean. But definitely, if you want to do this window event thing, name it regular tone. That way it won't appear darker and blue at nighttime, if that makes sense. So now when I load into the game, ta-da, boom, it's nighttime, and look at that. The window is a nice lit up yellow. So it's not affected by that blue, darker hue that's affecting everything else. And now it looks like a lit up window. So you can do this to all your other windows, and they'll appear lit up at nighttime if you so want to do that. And it looks kind of nice. So thank you again for asking the question, and I hope that this helped. Yeah, so regular tone, Nice yellow windows. All right, on to the next question. This next question comes from Professor Frankly Gaming, saying, what is one of your favorite fan games that you play? In terms of my favorite fan games, I don't know. I feel like I actually haven't played too many fan games. The ones that got me into making fan games were Pokemon Fusion Generation, and there is another one. But that was the one that really got me into making Pokemon fan games. In terms of ones that I like the most, I don't know. I haven't played any of like the big name ones yet. Like I've only played a little bit of Uranium, a little bit of what's the other ones? I don't know. Insurgents, I've only played a little bit of those. I'm not too invested in the fan game community, despite the fact that I make these tutorials. I need to just play more of these games, although I don't have a whole lot of free time, so when I do play games, it's like, I don't know. I really liked Pokemon Attack on the Space Station, and the all-time best Pokemon fan game, of course, is Pokemon Whack. So, I don't know, that's about where I stand. I just need to play more fan games in order to answer that question. I don't really have too many favorites right now, but thank you for asking the question, man. The next question comes from Karate King, who asks, how to make a Battle Frontier? So, I don't really know exactly how to do all the Battle Frontier stuff, but Pokemon Essentials, by default, does come with some of the Battle Frontier already made. In terms of making new stuff, I wouldn't know how to do that. But, you know, they've already got the Battle Tower, Battle Palace, Battle Arena, Battle Factory. They've got those implemented. I don't know exactly how well they work, because I personally haven't really played around with them that much. But I would say if you're invested in making your own Battle Frontier, look into how this stuff has been made. You know, check out how the Battle Tower does things. Check out how the Battle Tower fights with the arena and such. You know, the Battle Palace, the Battle Factory. I remember having a lot of fun with the Battle Factory when I was younger, playing Pokemon Emerald. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, look at the Pokemon Battle Frontier stuff that's already been made over here. Check that out. This next question is from Dagan Van Polak, who asks, are you into sports? I used to be. I used to play a lot of soccer. There was a time in my freshman year of high school where I was playing football and soccer at the same time, and my body was just like dying. I played a little bit of fantasy football with my friends, but I haven't been too invested in it as of late. I mean, I've been kind of like just out of fantasy football lately. I'll watch football games when they're on, but other than that, I'm not too into sports. I'm more interested in playing them than watching them. I don't know. I'm bad at just like sitting there down and watching sports and talking about sports. So I don't know. Maybe like I'm 50% into sports. But yeah, thank you for your question, man. AG3 asks, are you ever going to stream again? One of these days, I hope so. I don't know. I'm pretty bad when it comes to streaming consistently. If I don't have a project I'm working on, I don't feel like streaming, because I don't know. Part of it is I beat myself up and I say, oh, I could stream this, but who cares? You know, I say, oh, I could stream myself playing a game late at night, but who's gonna watch? Who cares? So maybe I'll break through that one of these days. I don't know. If more people show up to me doing just stupid late night streams, then maybe I'll do them more. But part of it's just me asking myself, who really wants to watch this? And I can't think of a good answer just because I'm a Debbie Downer and I punch myself in the gut repeatedly. But thank you for your question, AG3. I want to stream again sometime. Cryosneasel says, I'm having an issue where the player character is invisible when I playtest. I googled it and people are saying there's an invisibility box, but when I hit F9, I don't have a checkbox for that. I don't know what to do. So I have a quick test for you to run, and hopefully this will help you out. Basically, find the map that you're currently on in your game, and make a new event on it. Make it so that way it's parallel process, I guess, and make it so that way it is setting the transparency flag. Where is it? Change transparent flag. Set that to normal. So just make an event like this and put it on your map, parallel process, normal, and run your game and see what happens. If your player does not appear, then you have an issue with your sprite or your art that you're setting, or you set your character wrong to a character that doesn't have art. But if your character does appear, then earlier somewhere in your game you're setting transparency flag and you're forgetting to set it back to normal. So sometimes in the intro, they'll make it so that way the player is transparent. You have to make sure that at the end to make it so that way your player isn't transparent anymore. So yeah, try those two tests. Hopefully that helps you out. And yeah, that's not really too much of a question, but I'm glad I could try to help you out anyway. Thank you for leaving a comment. All right, this next question comes from the Badass Glysaur. There's a couple of questions here. The first one, what do I think about the new version? Like, do I need to upgrade? I don't think you need to upgrade to the newest version of Pokemon Essentials. It's nice and it has a lot of fixes, and it's what a lot of future projects are going to be based on, and that's what I'm going to be familiarizing myself with in the coming months. But it's not 100% necessary. If you want to make a Pokemon game, in the old version and it's too much of a hassle to upgrade, you don't need to upgrade. There's a lot of scripts that still work perfectly fine with the old version of Essentials. It's just there's new stuff. So it's nice to upgrade, but it's not 100% mandatory. You do you, whatever is convenient for you making your game. Question number 2. When did I start working on Pokemon games? Just a year ago. Just 1 year ago, I think. Towards the beginning of summer. In 2016, I think. Yeah, it hasn't been too long. I made a really crappy Pokemon game called Pokemon Noir over the summer, and then I did the game jam and worked on Pokemon Paradox. And then I took a big break, and then I was working on some stuff, and then I worked on Summit Trials, and I don't know, you know, I have not been working on them for too long, maybe just 1 year. And 3, when did I start playing Pokemon? A long time ago. When I was a wee lad, I got a copy of Pokemon Blue for Christmas when I was like 6 or something, and I got a Game Boy Color, and I didn't know how to save at first, so it was one of the coolest things. I'd watched the show and I really liked it, and then it was cool to be like, oh, there's Brock, oh, there's Misty. So yeah, that was a whole lot of fun. But yeah, I didn't know how to save at first, so I went all the way up to Viridian Forest and then turned it off because I was running low on battery or something. I turned it back on and I didn't have my Pokemon again, and I got really sad. But yeah, I've been playing Pokemon for a long time, ever since like Pokemon Blue came out. 4, do I like apples? Oh, I don't have to answer it, but I will answer it. I do like apples. What's it? There's like Fiji. There's like a yellow opal one that's like really good. Opal apples. Check those out. But yeah, thank you for your question, man. This next question is a general question I get asked a lot, but Harry Song here asks, how do you erase tiles? You seem to do that without clicking on anything, and I can't for the life of me figure out what you're doing. So this is basically a question that I want to answer quickly, but then there's also another deeper part of it that I want to dive into also. So what I do to erase tiles is I use right-click. What right-click does is it selects what is there when you're unpainting. So right now I'm on layer 3, so you can look at all the things here on layer 3. If I look at layer 2, here's all the layer 2 stuff. If I click right-click, I can copy that tile and then click it around. Nice. And if I right-click on an empty spot, boop, I can then left-click to paste the empty over. So like, for example, I can right-click this whole building and then plop a version over here. And then if I want to erase it, what I would do is just like right-click the emptiness and then paint emptiness over it to essentially erase it. So you can do that on all the different layers, except for layer 1. Typically, well, you can still do it. Let me show you how to do it. This top left tile is pure emptiness. If you're ever questioning whether or not a tile that you have is empty, check and see if when you right-click, it goes to this top left. So for example, if I right-click right here, it won't be in the top left anymore. But if I right-click over here, boop, that's that top left tile, so that's emptiness. So if I go and put emptiness on the bottom layer, the first layer, then it's just like a white void. So the first layer will always have a white void when it's empty, but layers 2 and 3 will just be transparent when they're empty. So thank you for asking the question, Harry Song, because this transitions into another point that I want to make. There are some people who have problems sometimes with invisible tiles, where they walk and they bump into invisible collision. What you need to do is right-click on that tile and make sure that it's this top left emptiness. Because otherwise, if it's not this top left emptiness, then there might be something there that actually has collision set to it. So if you ever have a question as to whether or not, like, oh, for example, this tile right here, when I bump into it, I can't move. It has collision. You have to right-click on it, and like right-click it on layer 3. Right-click on it on layer 2, right-click on it on layer 1, and check the collisions of all those tiles. What's really neat about using right-click also is the tile that you do right-click on, it'll then take it to you, it'll show you there in the tile set with the one you've clicked on. So for example, if I right-click on these flowers, boom, right there's the flowers. So then I can go into my tile set and I can check the flowers. Oh cool, they have collision. You can right-click on this and it shows you the ground tile here. Then you can go into your tile set and go, oh okay, that one does have, that one's passable, So you can do that for all your buildings, you can do that for a lot of stuff. Make sure that whenever you bump into invisible collision or you have any collision issues, use this right-click trick a lot, because right-clicking is amazing. I use it all the time. I'm constantly, left-clicking, right-clicking, painting a bunch of stuff, so get comfortable with the right-click and use it frequently. So thank you for the question, man, and I hope that addressed your question as well as the questions of other people's if they have them. So thank you. The last question I'll answer in this video comes from MVR Blaze, who says, do you know how to convert the game into Game Boy Advance or Nintendo DS ROMs? And I see you've already been answered by other comments, but I want to make this clear in a video, because I've gotten this question a lot. It is impossible to convert an RPG Maker game into a Game Boy Advance or a Nintendo DS ROM. If you want to make a ROM, then you're going to have to hack a ROM, like using ROM hacking tools. And what I'm doing is different than ROM hacking, and what we're doing, I guess, in RPG Maker. We are making our own standalone executable games that are meant to be run on computers, Windows XP or higher. And this is not a ROM that we're making. So if you want to run your game on a Game Boy Advance, what you need to look into is ROM hacking and making ROM hacked games. But I haven't covered that yet, and I don't know if I will. But who knows? Maybe that'll be something that I move on to some other time. But yeah, thank you for your question, man. I just wanted to make it very clear in a video. So thank you. And that'll do it for this Q&A video. Thank you guys for asking questions. I'm sorry if I didn't get around to answer your question. There were some questions that I looked at and I tried to solve them and I just couldn't. And I still put some of my best attempts in the video. But yeah, if I didn't answer your question, let it be known that I might still do videos to cover those topics that you mentioned. So thank you once again for asking questions. Be sure to follow on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and all that good stuff. And join the Thundaga Discord. And yeah, I think I'm going to take a slight break from doing some of this Pokemon making stuff. I want to just play through some games. So keep an eye out in the near future for some new game playthroughs starting up. So I still want to do some Pokemon stuff, but keep an eye out and maybe you'll see some interesting stuff. But yeah, if you watched this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I'll give you a little kiss. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.